Hi, Corrine. I'm not sure what happened if I lost you or not, Corrine, but I can tell you I'm here. I'm ready to talk about my book, Shattered. And this book is a poetry book that I wrote about my personal journey with mental illness. I've had it for over 40 years now. And this book is a culmination of poetry that I've written since I was 16, which is also about 40 years ago. That was basically my outlet for a therapeutic outlet for coping with the abuse that I was receiving and trying to navigate, quite frankly, and the things that caused my trauma and for me to develop coping mechanisms, etc. One of them was writing. So poetry, it just kind of came out as poetry. I'm not really sure why, but that's how my thoughts came out about my life. It was sort of telling my life story through rhythm and rhyme. So if you'd like, I can read a poem if we want to just do that while we're still getting going here. Again, the book is Shattered. It's available on Amazon. Also, I just wanted to mention quickly, I'm in Canada, and in Canada, Bell, the telecommunications company, is having a Bell Let's Talk Day for mental health awareness. And every tweet that you send, Bell will send 5 cents to a mental health organization of their choice. Very reputable, very safe. You don't have to pay any money. They pay all the money. All you'd have to do is tweet and hashtag Bell Let's Talk. So I'd like to read you a poem that describes what I think a lot of people feel with mental illness, and maybe it cannot express. A lot of people can't express their feelings in any way, whether it's talking or writing. I'm blessed for being able to do both. I talk a lot, as you can see. This one's called Roller Coaster, and it describes either bipolar, manic depressive, or someone with severe mood swings, which is what I have. And here we go. Roller coaster. I hide in my room, dripping in sweat from anxiety, afraid to leave my bed, this terror of a special variety. The bills are rolling in, a new one every day, the ounce astronomical. How will I ever pay? Clouds between my knees. 2 weeks ago I was riding high. Laughing uncontrollably, I was surfing the sky. I couldn't stop talking, so animated when I landed. I was still flying high. Some say I was manic. My credit cards declined. I had finally crashed. No friends with whom to party when I ran out of cash. Now as I lie here and reflect on my life and how I sank it, I pull the covers over my head. I can't breathe. All I can do is panic. I hate taking the pills. They make me feel so numb. I want us to feel everything, even if that sounds dumb. But this roller coaster ride, well, it's getting old. The panic-driven sweat on my skin is making me cold. I'll have to face the music sooner than later. Time to ask for help so I can get better. And really, I do believe in that. I believe that we do have to ask for help. I think we have to first identify what we are feeling, acknowledge it, give it a name if you need to. I call it mental illness. Some people call it mental health issues. Some people are more specific and say schizophrenia or bipolar, depression, anxiety, PTSD, etc. I just group it all under various forms of mental illness. But your first step is recognizing that you have it. And after I did that, I started recognizing how it was affecting the people in my life around me that I love dearly. And it was killing them. It was killing them. And 3 of them were children, my children. And I was putting them through hell because I was not getting the help that I really needed. I'd like to, if you don't mind, just read a poem that I wrote to my children in the book. It's the first one. And it really drives home the point about having a support system. It's called Dear Children. In my darkest times of need, you've always been there, giving me support, showing me how much you care. I want to thank you for this gift so priceless. I know it's been hard. I'm not always the nicest. When I call out your name, you always show up. You never let me down. You're never harsh or abrupt. Your compassion and patience has kept me afloat. I wish I could give you more than this thank you note. Please accept this small token of my immense gratitude for everything you are and everything you do. If there's ever a day I can do the same for you, just call out my name. I'll be there for you too. With eternal love, you help my heart sing. I'm ready to soar. You've given me wings. And that is what a support system can do for you. And my kids have been a really big part of it. And it was really hard for them to watch me suffer a severe breakdown in 2007. And I just wanted to write that note to them. And like, again, it just came out in poetry, but I wanted to acknowledge them for being there for me, everything they did, and staying strong and taking care of themselves when I couldn't. They're in their teens. Um, but they were still kids, and they're still my kids, and they were afraid of losing their mom. So they always pull me back from the brink. And it doesn't have to be your children. My mother's been extremely supportive, even allowing me to live with her for a while until I could get it together again. You just couldn't ask for a better mom than mine. She's wonderful, but everyone has their own support system, and I think it's really important to put that in what I call your mental health toolkit. And I think, Shattered, the book, is also a tool if people want to read it or what like poetry. It's something they can do too. It makes them feel a little better.
Denise, you're awesome. Can I tell you how
Oh,
awesome you
thank
are?
you.
Can I tell you how awesome you are? You took over
Oh,
my show,
thank you.
and I don't mind. I don't mind
I
when my kids
wasn't
take over
sure
my
what was happening because like nothing was going on. I'm like,
you,
we're live. We're like a minute and a half in. What do I
yes,
do?
you're alive.
I'm so sorry, Corrine.
And I got and just and no, I love it. And just when I was about to introduce you is when I got
Oh,
bumped. And I'm like,
I'm
oh my
so,
word,
oh God, I'm so sorry.
oh my word. But it's a good thing that I prepared you. So you were
Yes, you
able to
prepared me
just run
very
with it.
well. Thank you for that. So we didn't make
Thank
a total
you.
fool of
Thank you. So
myself.
everything flowed nicely.
Well, thank you.
So I am sure people would have got it by now. She was reading from her book, Shattered, and she's talking about her life's journey so far with dealing with mental illness. And I didn't get a chance to properly introduce Denise, so I want to take the opportunity to do that now. She's a critically acclaimed award-winning author and poet residing in Toronto, Canada. Of course, she's envious of me living in Trinidad and Tobago with a lot
I
of
am.
sun, but that's okay.
That's very
That's
true.
okay.
I own it. I'm jealous.
One of these days, one of these days, she will migrate to Trinidad, and
Oh,
everything will be settled then. And then
very
she's
well.
gonna look as
Sounds good.
well, and then she's gonna look as well done as me. Her skin would
I
would be
wish I
looking
had
like
your
Vanessa.
gorgeous skin. I wish. Oh
Don't worry, we'll
God.
work on it.
Okay, it's a deal.
We're gonna make you black before the end of the year. We're gonna make you black. Don't worry.
Oh, some
So
people would argue that I'm already there. I'm on the inside.
you're on the inside.
Black is beautiful. What can I say? Black is beautiful. It
Oh, you better believe it. You better
is.
believe it. So, because
Hmm.
Denise is a trauma survivor, her primary focus is to create and publish works that send educational messages of resiliency, empowerment, and acceptance, all while entertaining readers. Denise co founded DanDeeLion Publishing with her daughter, Danielle Gray. So, welcome officially to Between the Lines, and thank you so much for handling my show. This is good. This is good. I have great guests.
Thank you for being so kind about it and being patient with me, not knowing what the heck I'm doing.
That's okay. You're doing great. You're doing great. I could have
Thank
just sat
you.
back and leave you to do what you're doing.
No, no, no. We want to have a conversation. That's more fun.
But here's what is happening, Denise. I like how we are talking mental illness, and I like how you're being vulnerable in sharing your journey because, especially in COVID right now, I mean, that is such a topical issue everywhere you go. Mental illness has surfaced. It was
Yes.
latent, it was dormant, and it has surfaced. It's like, yeah, I am ready to rear my head. So, a lot of people who never thought that they were mentally ill or had issues before COVID came and Rose Lazarus, and they are not happy with it. A lot of people are having issues, including myself, Denise,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
including myself. Now, I don't know what type of mental illness, but I can tell you some of the things that I've been through. So, for example, the whole isolation, not that I'm not used to isolation,
Mm-hmm.
but I had an active social life. I used to still come out, deal with people. I'm a dancer, so dancing was my little outlet.
Oh,
You
nice.
know,
That was mine
yeah,
too.
I dance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would come out, mix with people, have sex with men with your clothes on. It was my little time to just enjoy.
I hear you. That's what I used to do. Once a week, dancing. Once a week
Yeah,
was the
right.
best.
It was my time to get my groove on with all sorts
Yeah.
of men, and just enjoy myself, and everybody go home to their respective homes. It was my
Mm-hmm.
outlet. It was my little reprieve. And lo and
Mm-hmm.
behold, COVID decide, no, you cannot have that anymore. And now
Mm-hmm.
I have to dance by myself, and the
I
discipline
know.
isn't there.
It's not as
Right?
much fun.
It's not. It's
It's not
not.
the ambiance isn't there, and that's what you go for. The social. It's not just the dancing; it's the socialization.
It's a
You know.
socialization.
Yeah,
And
I feel the same way.
human beings need to socialize. We are built for that.
Yes, I agree.
So when that is taken away from us, what the hell do we have? What the hell do we have? So I
Mm-hmm.
went through that. I still go through it every now and again and find ways to
Mm-hmm.
kind of cope. And especially as they relax things a little bit now in Trinidad, it is allowing us to still connect on a certain level, just
Right.
making sure that we follow the health protocols. But the dancing and the grouping in a massive way is not allowed. So we
Mhm.
still are not
Yeah.
able to dance and all of those things. And I went through just being alone. I love being alone, but there are
Mhm.
times, Denise, where I just I just felt like I needed the company, somebody to talk to, a physical human being. I mean, talking to somebody, like,
Yes.
it gets to you
Yes.
after a while, but I just needed a physical human
Yeah.
being. And it got to me after a while. I had to
Mhm.
take walks, I had to talk to myself, I had to
Mhm.
cry. I
Mhm.
found myself going in a depressive state. You could actually feel the depression coming
Oh,
onto you.
yes. It's
You
a physical
feel
thing
it coming
too,
onto
and
you.
yes, and that's what bothers me about the
Yeah.
stigma around mental illness, because the word mental, just because
Mm.
it's brain chemistry levels, and that's a very physical
Yeah.
thing. So
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
require medication just to level yourself out, which I do,
Hmm.
why not? Just take it.
Yeah.
But like in the poem, one of the poems I read, a lot of people don't like taking them because it makes them feel numb, and
Yeah.
they want to feel it all, even the bad stuff, but they don't
Yeah.
realize it until they're in the throes of it, that it's like, oh no, I didn't really want
Yeah.
this, because their anxiety, it just gets heightened, or your
Yeah.
depression gets lower, and
Yeah.
you can't
Yeah.
even get out of bed. It's
I
just
like I like how you said that, because it is a chemical malfunction in the brain,
it
which means
is
we all have the same chemicals in our brain. It's
right.
just depending on the triggers, it starts to
Yes.
go in overdrive or underdrive or whatever it is, or it
Hmm.
just stops.
Yeah,
But
that's exactly it.
what I want to get from you, because we are living in homes. Well, I mean, I live by myself, but we are living in homes
Hmm.
with our spouses. No husband have to live with a wife
Hmm.
24/7 because they may not be at jobs. So,
Right.
so when he had his outlet to wake up in the morning and go to work, and she did the same, and they don't see each other until in the
Right.
night, and the kids go to school and they don't see the kids. Now everybody is there, and they
Hmm.
want to kill each other. So
Hmm.
I want you to tell me, what are some of the signs or symptoms or things, especially as a mother or parent, that we need to look out for in our kids, in our spouses, in ourselves, or even in our parents who may be older and
Hmm.
by themselves, or even a
Hmm.
neighbor that we will
Yes.
be talking and laughing with every day. And
Mhm.
no, we're not seeing Denise coming outside as often as she used
Right.
to. She normally, you know people's routine after a while, Denise. They
Mhm.
get out in the
Yeah,
morning,
yeah,
they
you
jog,
do.
they get the
Mhm.
garbage, they go and get the
Yeah.
meal, they go out on a Monday and on a Friday. Their
Mhm.
routine. So you're like, hold on, I didn't see so and so come out today. What,
Right.
what, what? You
Yeah, and
know?
you wanna check on those people, but at the same time, we are living in a pandemic, and we have to make sure we keep ourselves safe and others safe, by wearing a mask and whatnot. So it's
Yeah.
not ideal for me. Like, I have elderly neighbors that I check on. Actually, the gentleman passed away just last year. And
Wow.
so my daughter and I check on the wife. They're together.
Yeah.
She's 80. She just turned 88, and she has
Wow.
family and whatnot, but they don't live down the street. So we check on her, but we go gloved or we
Yeah.
call her and stuff. And then my
Yeah.
next door neighbor's got his granddaughter living with him, and she's about 4. So we don't want to put her at in jeopardy either. So yeah, you're right. We're not seeing people. So I would like the first thing I
Yeah.
would suggest
What
is
are some of
people
the
just
signs? Yeah.
sorry.
What are some
Be
of the
careful of your
signs? What are
screen
some of the
time.
things we need to look? Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
watching too much news. Watching too much news is just it.
Mhm.
You know what? Watch enough to be informed
Yeah.
or to know where to go, like to CDC or WHO for the health information you need. Look at your statistics of cases in your community, so you can be address that appropriately. But if you're not a healthy person, you may not want to go out. Right
Mhm.
now, I'm in Ontario, Canada, and our province is on a total lockdown. So very few stores are open. It's really
Wow.
difficult. Like you could be cited for a citation for driving if you don't have to be out on the road. You shouldn't be.
Wow.
Yeah, we're getting really strict, which I'm actually happy about because I think it is going to help. But then there's the other side of it where you talk about it, the isolation and the loneliness. And I have found the other thing is, especially with your kids, watch their screen time. Because not only are they taking in the news that they may not understand really correctly, or especially young ones, why am I not going to school? Or why do I have to Zoom my friends and all those things? Like, why can't I
Yeah.
see Bobby next door, and things like that. And
Yeah.
it's really, you have to talk to them in age appropriate terms. But if you see
Wow.
your child playing too many video games or watching too much TV, they are just checking out. And
Yeah.
you've got to watch that because that could lead to severe depression. If you have older kids and they're not coming out of their rooms, you find like, geez, I didn't see Michael for yesterday. What the heck is going on?
Yeah.
Perhaps they're not eating properly, which is not going to
Yeah.
help their mental state.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perhaps you're not sleeping properly if your child's really tired, or anybody, your neighbor, like your friends or anyone you're quarantining with, or anyone
Right.
if you're on the phone. If my mom says, oh, I just really haven't been feeling great and I'm tired. I'm like, oh no, I want to run over with a COVID test or at least my thermometer. But
Yeah.
you just
Yeah.
have to check on people, and
Wow.
hopefully you have people that will check on you. But those are the main
So
things.
what are the kind of stigma you went through? I heard you mentioning it before. I came in just at the point when you were talking about it. But
Mhm.
the stigma, when we say mental illness, people think mad. With
Yes,
your
yes,
journey,
crazy.
crazy, loopy.
Mhm.
With your journey, you said you had a lot of support from your kids who were they're
They
young
were
mothers.
young then, yeah, they were
Yeah,
young
yeah.
then. They're
And
33, 31, and almost 28 now, but they were young.
but they had to take on that responsibility. The mother who they're supposed to
Yes,
depend on to hold the fort together. Now they have to look to the kids. You have to look to the kids to support you.
that
I
was
could
yeah,
imagine how you felt.
it was
How you
awful. It's
oh my God.
I still do depend on them, I have also chronic pain.
Yeah.
So I still depend on them a lot. I feel like a burden a lot of the times. And we just
Mhm.
talk about it. I just own it. And I just say, you know what? I feel
Yeah.
like I'm really, I'm asking way too much of you. And you need to tell me and be honest, but be respectful in how you say it to me because I don't want to be triggered. I don't
Yeah.
want to get angry with you or and then I'm going to upset with myself and just you go into that vicious cycle. I just say, if
Yeah.
you speak to me respectfully in a nice tone and
Yeah.
just say, Mom, you know what? I have my own stress right now. I'm really,
Yeah.
this is just too much for me to handle right now. I will understand. And
Yeah.
I think most people will. I just think you just need to have that respectful conversation,
Yeah.
speak up
Yeah.
and have an open dialogue. And
Yeah.
don't pretend you're well and perfect and healthy. I
Yeah.
always say I'm flawlessly flawed and perfectly imperfect.
That's
And
right. That's right.
none of us are perfect and we're never going to be because practice doesn't make perfect. It doesn't exist here.
No.
It exists with
Yeah.
God, in my
No.
opinion.
That's
So I
right.
tell my kids
That's
just
right.
strive to be better, and they have to tell
Mm-hmm.
me, and everyone does. My mom, whoever is supporting me, has to be
Yeah.
honest
Yeah.
with me, and I have to be able to receive that without anger or
Yeah.
judgment
So
from them. I have to
what
understand.
are the what are the triggers for you that led you to have mental illness? What are the triggers for
Um,
you?
as a child, there was some sexual abuse that happened with me that I had repressed, quite frankly, until my breakdown in 2007. But prior to that, I'd been, as an older teen, I was in a very bad relationship, very violent relationship. And this man held me over a 15th floor balcony by my ankles and just swung me. Yeah. He ran me over with a car. I suffered several rapes at the hands of this man. He stalked me for years, and stalked my children, stalked my family. And my husband at the time, he saved my life. He saved my life, and we're not married anymore, but he's here with me and two of the kids quarantining together, and he was here last year when we had the first quarantine. Just because we live in a rural area just outside of Toronto, so it's a little safer here. I feel better having him here, all of us together, so I can
Yes.
be that mom and take care of things. But yeah, the
Wow.
domestic violence and the rapes and the stalking that went on for like 10 years, and
Oh,
yeah, I have a lifetime restraining order against this person, and they don't
you
give
could
those
do
out
that?
very easily.
You could
Yeah,
do that?
yeah,
You
I
could
didn't
have
know it.
a lifetime restraining order?
Well,
I
at
didn't
least
even know
I
that.
did. I didn't think they existed, but I got it from a justice of the peace. He saw
Damn.
I didn't bruise immediately after I'd be hit or whatever, or knocked around, and so the police would rarely charge him. And the one time that he did,
Yeah.
he got
Yeah.
weekends in jail, and the jail was overcrowded. So they said, "Oh, just call in on Fridays and Sundays." So this man was allowed out to terrorize me, and he had kidnapped my kids. He ran me over with my own car that he stole. It's just a lot of wild, bizarre stuff that
And
honestly,
they
no,
say
I
you
couldn't
are
make up a
mental?
fight. I'm not that good a writer.
No,
That's
but they
that?
say you are mental, and they say you are
Yeah,
mental.
I'm the crazy one. Yeah, I could, but I do acknowledge it. I do have post
Yes,
traumatic stress
yes, yes,
disorder.
yes. Of
So
course.
certain
I'm not.
things will trigger me, yeah. But that was the main source. I think it was that. It was more so than what's going on in childhood. I think I went through bullying at school and stuff like that. I was the skinny blonde kid, and I just picked on all the time, that normal stuff. But back then we used to say sticks and stones will
Don't
break
ever
your bones.
mind.
Names will never hurt you, but names are really
They do
hurtful.
good. Yeah,
And I did carry around a lot of those
yeah,
names from
yeah.
my
They
childhood,
do.
you know. So that's my main trauma that I'm dealing with, like getting over that. And it is a work in progress. It's not like, oh, I worked through it. I acknowledged it and it happened, I worked through it. I do
Mhm.
sort of feel that way. Like I function fine. But I can never forget that that's the source. It's the source of my illness. So if I have to go back there and open something up in my brain and examine it and look at it and why did it happen this way, and and not blame myself because it wasn't my fault. The things that
Yeah.
were
No,
done to me, I didn't
no,
ask for them,
no,
and
no.
I didn't ask to be mentally ill as a result, so
Yeah.
I didn't ask for
So
that either.
how did you start feeling the mental illness coming on to you, that you were triggered? What started happening to you physiologically that you became aware that
Well,
something wasn't right?
I couldn't get over 98 pounds. Like no matter how much I ate, I was always under 100 pounds. And this is after kids. This was after two kids, and I have three. But so my doctor put me on an antidepressant. Is one of the side effects is weight gain, and I started gaining some weight and feeling a little better. But depression was the first thing to come. The depression. It was really bad because once you start looking at all these things and you put it all together and you say it, like this happened and this happened and this happened, it's like, wow, how the heck did I survive any of that? And sometimes I do have to look at it, and I see something on TV, I can't handle it sometimes. It's like, I don't really want to watch this scene or whatever. It brings up bad memories. But for me, it was depression at first. And then I felt anxious, and I didn't know what anxiety even was, but I felt
Yeah.
nervous all the time and shaky and quivery. And that's just not me. I'm pretty confident, and the other thing was, is I had low self-confidence because it was beaten into me,
Yeah.
that I wasn't worthy. And the word said to me when I was a child by some people, I
Yeah.
wasn't good enough. I was less than. And now I deal with, oh, you're
Oh,
crazy. It's like, whatever,
listen,
people are going to have their
listen,
perceptions. I don't
listen
care. I'm taking
to
care of
me.
Denise.
Yeah, exactly so. Exactly so, Denise. Because somebody will have something to say about something sometime,
Oh,
somehow.
yeah.
Oh my God. And you're there trying
especially
to please this
today.
one, please that one, please. Just focus. Just
That's like,
focus on you.
yeah, it's like
Yeah,
when
just
kids
focus
at
on you.
dinner time, they don't, I want this and I want that. I go, I'm not a short order cook. This isn't a restaurant. I made pork chops and that's what you're eating. Or I
Yeah.
made curry chicken and that's what you're eating,
Oh, hold
There is
on. The
stuff on the
kitchen is
menu.
over there. The
Yeah,
kitchen is over
exactly.
there.
Yeah.
You
I
can
taught
you
them
can
how
do
to cook. Yeah. Go
this.
scramble an egg, make some
And
toast. You
now,
know how to do that.
and now there's YouTube. You can learn anything on
That's
YouTube.
true. Yeah,
Yeah,
now they're all older, so it's a lot easier. But when they were younger and it was just
yeah,
training them, it's like, nope, you're not going to be bossing me around. And then the boys, they would drive me insane. And I'd say, you know what, you're never going to get too big for me. And they said, oh, Mom, you're like 100 pounds, like 5'3". And, I said, I will always have a stepladder and a baseball bat. So
that's
you're never. And for just to note, I've never had to beat my kids with a baseball bat. I would have if I had to.
yeah. I think that's the black in you. I think that's the black in you.
Because when they talk about, black mamas and black mothers, it's like, but I'm
Yeah.
not me.
No, hello. I
I
would
was,
slap you up in the head.
yeah, I was raised in a strict environment like that, so
Yeah,
I tended.
I'll slap the black off of you. I'm telling you.
My mother-in-law used to say that. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, that's
I'll
funny.
slap the black off of you. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh
I'll
yeah.
slap you into next week. I'm telling you.
Oh, that's what I say too. I used to say, if you make me get my lazy butt off this couch,
Yeah.
I'm gonna beat you twice as hard. And I mean, talking about meetings and stuff, it never ever happened. You just scare the heck out of them. You might have to slap them once. After that, they don't want it again. So it's like, well, behave, honey. And now they're older. They're supporting me.
Yeah,
So I think I must have done something right because they're very compassionate and
yeah,
empathetic
yeah,
people, and they don't just help me; they help everyone.
yeah,
They're very good humans. I think I raised
yeah.
good humans. I turned good people out onto the world. I hope.
What do you want persons to learn from your book? What do you want people to
I
take away?
want people to know it's okay not to be in society's definition of okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay is a very relative term. Mental illness does not discriminate. It doesn't care if you're black, if you're white, if you're poor, if you're rich. It
Mm-hmm.
just doesn't matter because it's a disease. And I want people to recognize that it's just as much a disease as diabetes. You wouldn't decline your shots, your insulin shots. So why are you depriving
Mm-hmm.
yourself of antidepressants or mood stabilizers or sedatives or sleeping pills or whatever it is that your doctor thinks you need?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you depriving yourself of that when if you had cancer, you'd go for chemo or radiation, you'd take whatever
Yeah,
medication. It's just as much an illness as any other, and I think that's the most important thing because we need to get that stigma, that whole mad woman and that crazy man and stuff like that. We need to get rid of those terms. When just if we're talking about mad or crazy, make it like a fun way of describing something. Don't call someone
that's
with
right.
mental illness mad or crazy because we're not. We just
Yeah,
have an imbalance in our brains. So
yeah,
that's the big thing.
yeah,
Just, recognize it as a real disease, treat it as a real disease, and be kind to those people who have it. And if you need
yeah.
help, reach out for it as a caregiver or a loved one. There are organizations all around the world. In the back of Shattered, there's a list of international helplines and crisis lines for people. And I've included my personal email address in the book. So if people want to just talk to me, I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, and I'm
So
showcasing your book here now while I was listening to
thank
you.
you
And
so
it should,
much.
yeah, it should be showing up on the screen. This is
Yes, it's
Amazon.
there. Thank
Yes, so this is Amazon and her book Shattered, and
you.
she has it
Mhm.
in Kindle and paperback. Yes.
Mhm. Yes, and it's a five-star book. It won a Book
Okay.
Excellence Award. And
Nice.
if you go to Amazon.ca, which is Canada's version of Amazon, it gives you all the reviews. There's some reviews on .com, but .ca has all of them. But they're all five-star reviews. I'm really blessed. People are
Yes.
really, and I've heard from a lot of people that it's helped them. Some people say
Yeah.
that it saved their lives. Some people say, "How did you get into my head? How did you know that's how I feel? And are you
Hmm.
reading my mind?" And then other people just were like, "Oh, thank you. I don't feel so alone, and I feel so
Yeah.
understood." And when you feel understood, that's empowerment. You know, it's like, oh, you understand. Now I feel better about myself, because you understand it. I don't find myself crazy. So
Yeah.
it makes a big difference when people can say, oh, wow, that book really helped me understand.
Yeah.
So,
I was
yeah.
scrolling through the reviews here a while ago, and some persons were giving some really good reviews. I'm trying to go back here. Continue to speak your truth. Byers speak her truth in her poems. The book provides insight into a world of anxiety, depression, and despair, but also speaks of strength and will to live and provides hope to those who live with mental illness. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I'm a suicide attempt survivor, so it was really important for me to write about that as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because some people, even me, can be I'm
Yeah.
less easily triggered now, but there have been times when I can get very triggered. A lot of times it's my chronic pain that triggers me as well. I just don't want to live with it.
Mhm.
It's migraine headaches every day, and I don't want to live
Wow.
with it sometimes, and that gets me depressed. When you can't get out of bed because you're in pain or you have
Yeah.
another physical illness that keeps you kind of bedridden for a day or two, and especially during COVID, like you said, this isolation, it's like, why am I
Yeah.
even getting out of bed?
Yeah.
I'm taking off my nighttime pajamas to put on my daytime pajamas. You get those feelings and you got to fight them, right? You just got to get up and you got to do your hair and your
I
makeup and put pants on, not stretchy
know.
pants, put jeans on,
I know. I know. I know.
just
The
to feel,
sweatpants
just to
look.
feel like you, right? Just to feel like you, and I think that gives you a little bit of control over
Yeah.
yourself. If you can
Yeah.
control the outside and stuff, I think
Yeah.
internally that makes a difference. You look in the mirror and you're like, I don't look bad today. Makes you feel pretty good. It's like, well, okay, I can get through today.
Yeah. You have to do a lot of self talk to yourself in the mirror and say, I look
Yes.
beautiful. I'm
Yeah.
this, I'm that, I'm
Yeah.
intelligent. A lot of
My daughter
affirmations.
actually taped up affirmations on the mirror in our bathroom. So every morning they're
Yeah.
there on
Yeah.
the mirror and we say
Every
our
morning.
affirmations. And that
Yeah.
includes
Yeah. You
gratitude
have
as
to do
well.
that. Of
And I
course,
believe in the power
that's
of
the
prayer.
best. Oh yes. Oh yes.
I
Just
really
all
do.
around positivity. All around positivity,
Yes.
all
Yes.
around
Whatever you
positivity.
call it.
Yeah.
Sending good vibes, sending out light, whatever. I call it prayer. It's,
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
positive, like you said. Yeah,
Yeah.
very
And
important.
getting rid of anything negative, toxic people, toxic situations, toxic food, toxic anything. Just
Anything.
get
And
rid of
learning
it.
to say no, which is very hard for women, as you know.
No, I
You know,
know
you,
how to say
we
no.
have to
I know
set
how
our,
to say no.
yeah, I do too, but a lot of
And
people don't.
I
And
know
you
how to
gotta
say
set your boundaries. And I'm like, nope,
yeah,
not
yeah,
happening.
yeah.
And be
I know
strict
how
with
to
them and because you're protecting yourself.
I
If you're
know how to
feeling
say
you
no
should
very
say
well,
no,
Denise.
good. That's really good to
Yeah,
hear because as
yeah.
women, we don't we
One of the
we
first
don't reach out. Men don't reach out for help, and women don't say
yeah,
no. We just take more on,
yeah,
and it's just a crazy thing. And again, the word crazy, but it is. It's a little nuts how it is. I'd like to see more men come forward and get help, and
yeah.
more women turn around and say, "No, that's I have a boundary, and you're not going to cross that boundary."
That's right.
That
Hell no.
would be
Hell
helpful.
no. That's another way to say no. Hell no.
Yeah,
Hell no.
exactly. Hell no, or
Hell
girl,
no.
bye,
That's
bye.
right. But I like how you brought in the men because I don't want people to think and listen to this is only focused on the woman. People know my show is always about balance, and whatever tends to happen to women can also happen to men. And a lot of men suffer, I think. I don't want to say more, but I want to say silently because of
You
the
took the word out of my
programming.
mouth.
Yeah, because of the programming that men are supposed to be strong, they are supposed to be the leaders, they are the providers, and they're not supposed to have an issue. No, they are humans, they have the same chemicals as everyone, and so they can have chemical imbalances as well. Yeah. So the book is both for
Absolutely.
male and for female. It's not age based, it's for anyone who needs help, support, hope, inspiration. Yeah.
Yes, that's
That's what the
exactly
book is
it. You
about.
nailed that's perfect. Thank you. You described it perfectly. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome. You're welcome. Any final words before we go, Denise, as we wrap up? Any final
Um,
words?
just again, today's Bell Let's Talk Day. So even in Trinidad and
Yeah.
all through the Caribbean, if you use Twitter, if you use the hashtag Bell Let's Talk, all one word,
Mhm.
Bell will donate 5 cents for every tweet to a mental health organization. And that's just
Bell
for today.
Talk.
Bell, the telecommunications company. Like
B
it's a
E
phone company here.
L or Dell?
Bell.
Oh,
Bell with
Bell.
B as in boy. It's Bell
Yeah.
Let's Talk. Yeah, and if people who are on
Okay.
have Bell on who have their phones on Bell, if they send text messages, 5 cents will be
Mm-hmm.
donated. but it's open to, it started in Canada and it's now open around the world. So they've added
Yeah.
Twitter so people globally could participate. Countries that don't have Bell telecommunications can still tweet. And retweets count as well. So if you see something on Twitter today that has the hashtag Bell Let's Talk, please retweet it because we need all the help we can get. We need some money
Yeah.
going into research,
Mhm.
education, and better treatments for the mentally ill.
Awesome, awesome. Definitely, I'm going to be sharing that hashtag so
Thank
that
you.
persons
Thank
can,
you.
yeah, so that persons can help support in whatever way they can.
Thank you.
There are no boundaries here in this
No,
time and age. There are
and it
no
doesn't
boundaries.
cost anyone anything. Bell gives the
Exactly.
money. It doesn't cost us anything but the time it takes for like 140 characters in a tweet. So if we could even,
Yeah.
everyone just did one,
Yeah.
what a difference that would make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Thank you so much, Denise, for sharing your
Thank
story.
you.
I know how difficult it must be, but everybody has a story, and if each one of us can share, it can help another person. And I always say it's not a matter of reaching the millions or the thousands, it's to reach one. If
Mhm.
you reach one, it can make a difference in somebody else's life. So
Yes,
thank
it
you
tends
so
to snowball.
yeah. Thank you so much for being on Between the Lines. I really appreciate you. I am glad you have support where you are. You're surrounded by love and family.
I
And I
am.
hope that those persons who are listening or who will be listening will be able to have the love and support, whether through your book, Shattered, or through listening to us, or somebody else in their community or in their space or in their family. Thank you so much for being on Between the Lines.
Thank you, Corinne, for having me. It's a wonderful opportunity, and I'm just so grateful. Thank you. You're lovely. Hopefully, we'll talk again soon.
Soon, yes.
You take care and stay out of the sun. I'm jealous. Like I said, minus 15 degrees Celsius here. Brr.
I don't. We don't care. We don't even measure all of those things. We just know it's hot. It's
Yeah.
wet. That's all we know.
Well, I know it's freezing here. There's a lot of snow. Well, thank you so much
Thank
for
you so
having
much.
me, Corinne. I really appreciate this, and I do hope the listeners did get something out of this interview
I'm
from me. I
sure
hope
they will.
I
Everything
good.
is in divine timing, Denise. Everything is in divine
Yes.
timing. It mightn't be today, it mightn't be this minute, but whoever
Mhm.
listens to it at that time, it was meant for them at that particular
I
time.
agree. Everything happens for a reason, and I think life unfolds when and as it should.
Exactly so. Thank you so much, Denise.
Thank you.